Our house was never quiet, thanks to the vast library that sprawled across the entire west wall of our living room. Books were our refuge, our shared passion, a testament to a marriage built on mutual respect for knowledge and the arts. It was here, amidst the rows of literary classics and modern thrillers, that I found solace after long days at the office. Yet, it was also here that I stumbled upon a betrayal that would unravel everything I held dear. Lately, our neighbor, Mr. Langston, had become a frequent visitor. His excuse was always the same, a thirst for reading he claimed his own modest collection couldn't satisfy. I didn't mind, it was nice to see someone else appreciate the collection as much as we did. However, I noticed something peculiar about his visits. He always chose the same book, a worn-out copy of The Great Gatsby, a detail that piqued my curiosity over time. One lazy Saturday afternoon, after noticing the book once again left on the reading table, I decided to see what might make this particular copy so captivating. As I flipped through the pages, I discovered a series of cryptic markings. Some letters were circled, others crossed out, and bizarre symbols filled the margins. It was like a code, something meant to be deciphered, but by whom? That evening, with confusion still clouding my mind, I returned to the library to place the book back on its shelf. It was then I saw my wife, Elaine, nestled in the armchair by the fireplace. In her hand was The Great Gatsby, a pencil poised between her fingers, her brow furrowed in concentration. She scribbled quickly, her actions deliberate. A cold realization washed over me, she was not just reading, she was communicating. Heart pounding, I approached quietly, standing behind her just long enough to confirm my fears. The markings she made were responses, a secretive correspondence hidden within the pages of a book both she and Mr. Langston seemed to know intimately. How long, Elaine? My voice was calm, almost detached, as I confronted her. She jumped, startled, her facade crumbling as she met my gaze. Thomas, How long have you and Langston been using this book to betray me? I demanded, my hands trembling as I held the book up for her to see. The silence that followed was suffocating. She opened her mouth to speak, but no excuses could mend the betrayal I felt. Our library, our sanctuary, had become their secret den of whispers and lies. That night, as Elaine pleaded for my understanding, the walls of our home seemed to close in on me. Betrayal, especially from someone I loved so deeply, was a poison with no antidote. But as the shock wore off, a resolute determination took its place. I would not let this deception go unanswered. Revenge, cold and calculated, formed the blueprint of my thoughts. In the weeks that followed, my plans took shape with meticulous precision. Every action, every decision, was geared towards one goal, to make Elaine regret her infidelity. The life we had built together, the home we shared, would be dismantled piece by piece, just as she had torn apart the trust that once bound us. As I initiated the divorce proceedings and exposed their affair to our circle of friends, I watched as Elaine's world crumbled under the weight of her choices. She tried to reach out, to explain, to apologize, but I was done listening. The woman I loved was a stranger to me now, hidden behind the scribbles in a book that once housed beautiful words. I vowed then, as I packed the last of my belongings and prepared to leave the home that no longer felt like mine, that this chapter of my life would close forever. Elaine, and the pain she brought with her, would be left behind, a mere footnote in the story of my life that was yet to be written. The morning after confronting Elaine, the house feels emptier, colder. With each step I take, echoes of our past conversations bounce off the walls, reminding me of what was and what can never be again. But there's no time for nostalgia, today is about action, about setting the wheels of retribution in motion. I start with the bank. As I sit across from our financial advisor, I'm calm, my voice steady. I need to separate our accounts. Immediately. The advisor, a middle-aged woman with a sympathetic nod, processes my request. We've known her for years, and her expression is one of shock, tinged with professional neutrality. Thomas, is everything okay at home? This is quite sudden, she probes. There's been a breach of trust, I say, the words tasting bitter. I'm ensuring it doesn't extend to financial matters. The The transactions are swift, the severing of our joint assets as clean as the slice of a sharp knife. But that's just the beginning. Next, I contact our mutual friends, the ones who've dined at our table and shared our lives. The conversations are brutal, honest, and necessary. By the end of the morning, the social fallout is palpable, and Elaine's betrayal is public knowledge. As I drive back home, my phone buzzes relentlessly. Calls, texts, some full of support, others brimming with disbelief. I ignore them all. There's one more task for today, one that requires more finesse. I arrive home to find Elaine pacing in the living room, her face a mask of worry and regret. She rushes towards me as I enter, her hands reaching out, but I sidestep her, heading straight to the library. "Thomas, please, let's talk about this," she pleads, her voice cracking with desperation. "There's nothing left to discuss," I reply coldly, pulling out the marked copy of The Great Gatsby and slamming it on the table. "This book says more than enough." Her eyes well up with tears, but my heart is stone. "How could you?" I demand, not looking for answers but wanting her to feel the weight of her actions. "We were just..." "It was nothing serious, just flirting." "I'm sorry, Thomas." "Please." "Flirting?" I scoff, the anger boiling inside me. "With words hidden in books. It's deceit, Elaine. And it's over." I watch her crumble, sinking into the armchair, the fight draining out of her. But I'm not done yet. I pull out my phone and show her the pictures I took of the book's pages. "I've sent these to Langston's wife," I state. The color drains from Elaine's face. "You didn't." "I did." She deserved to know, just like I did. The rest of the day blurs into a series of legal consultations and preparations. Divorce papers, asset lists, appointment schedules. Every action is a step away from Elaine and our marriage of lies. As night falls, I sit alone in the now silent library, the book on the table before me. I realize this is just the beginning. The path of revenge is long and winding, and I am ready to walk it to the end. The betrayal is laid bare, but the full extent of my retribution is yet to unfold. With each passing moment, the plan for the coming days takes clearer shape in my mind, and I am resolute. Tomorrow, I tackle the hardest part, confronting Langston. The thought brings a grim smile to my face. This chapter of my life is far from over, and I am the author of its conclusion. The morning is crisp, the sky a clear blue, but the day ahead promises anything but peace. My resolve is steel as I drive toward Mr. Langston's home, the place where he and my wife crafted their deceit. The weight of the book in the passenger seat feels like a tangible reminder of their betrayal. I park outside his quaint suburban house, the kind of place that suggests a perfect family life. My knuckles are white on the steering wheel as I gather my thoughts and my courage. Today's confrontation is necessary, it's the linchpin of my plan for retribution. As I approach the front door, I hear the faint sounds of a typical family breakfast on the other side, laughter, the clinking of spoons. It sickens me. With a firm knock, I shatter the morning harmony, the door swinging open to reveal Langston, his smile fading when he sees it's me. "Thomas, this is unexpected," he stammers, blocking the doorway. "We need to talk," I say, my voice firm, leaving no room for argument. He hesitates, glances back nervously at his family, then steps outside, closing the door behind him. "All right, let's talk. I know about you and Elaine." "The book." I hold up the copy of The Great Gatsby, its pages marked with their secret exchanges. His face pales, confirming his guilt. Langston runs a hand through his hair, a nervous tick. "It was foolish, I know. I never meant for it to go this far." "That doesn't make it better." "You both betrayed me," I shoot back, the anger in my voice sharp and biting. He nods, looking down, ashamed. "I'm sorry, Thomas. Truly. I never wanted to hurt anyone." The sincerity in his voice stings, but it's no salve for the wound. "Your apology doesn't change what happened. It doesn't fix anything." I step closer, my gaze piercing. "What did you think would happen? That no one would ever find out? That there wouldn't be consequences? We were just escaping. It wasn't real, he tries to explain, his voice desperate. Escaping? I scoff. By dragging others through your I scoff. He has no response, his silence an admission of his cowardice. I've already informed your wife. She deserved to know, I say, the words cold and deliberate. The color drains further from his face. You did what? Just what you heard. She should know who she's married to. I don't enjoy the pain in his eyes, but it's necessary. Collateral damage in a war they started. Please, Thomas, I'll do anything to make this right, Langston pleads, his composure cracking. There's nothing you can do. Just stay away from us. From Elaine. From me. Turning on my heel, I leave him standing there, a broken man in the shadow of his fractured home. As I drive away, the adrenaline slowly ebbs from my veins, replaced by a hollow victory. Langston's part in this sordid tale might be over, but Elaine's isn't. She's still at our house, likely wondering what comes next. I head home, ready to face her, to end our chapter for good. With every mile closer, the plan for the final confrontation becomes clearer, sharper. I'm ready to close this book, to finally turn the last page on a marriage destroyed by deception. The stage is set, the actors in place. It's time for the final act. The drive home feels longer than it ever has, each turn, unfamiliar landmark a reminder of the life I'm about to dismantle completely. My hands grip the steering wheel tightly, a mixture of anger and anticipation churning within me. Today, everything ends. As I pull into the driveway, the house looks different, as if it already senses the change coming. The front door opens, and Elaine steps out, her expression a mix of fear and resolve. She's been waiting, knowing this confrontation was inevitable. Thomas, she starts, her voice trembling slightly, I've been thinking. Save it, I interrupt sharply, cutting off any pleas or excuses. We're beyond words now, Elaine. I step closer, my eyes locked on hers. I know everything, I state coldly. And I've made sure everyone else does too. Your affair with Langston, the secret messages, all of it. Her face pales, her earlier resolve crumbling. Thomas, please, I'm so sorry. I never wanted. Sorry doesn't even begin to cover what you've done, I interject, the bitterness in my voice making her flinch. You've made a fool of me, Elaine. But no more. I pull out my phone, showing her the series of messages I sent out not just to our friends and family, but to her colleagues and clients. Her private life, now made public, her reputation tarnished beyond repair. Thomas, you didn't, she gasps, horror written all over her face. Ebbs from my veins, firm with a cold satisfaction. And there's more. I explain the legal maneuvers I've made over the past few days, transferring her shares of our joint business under my name, freezing our joint accounts, leaving her financially isolated. Her career, our shared business, the comfortable life she knew, all slipping from her grasp. This can't be happening, she murmurs, sinking onto the porch step, her usual composure shattered. You've destroyed me. Just as you did to us, I reply unsympathetically. But why? Why go this far, she asks, looking up at me with tears streaming down her face. Because betrayal from a stranger is expected, but from a wife? It's unforgivable, I say, my voice hard as stone. Elaine sobs, her body shaking, but I feel no sympathy, only the hollow victory of revenge. There's one last thing, I say, my tone final. I hand her an envelope. Your ticket out. A one-way flight to anywhere but here. Our divorce papers, ready to be signed. I want you gone by tomorrow. But where will I go, she cries, her voice desperate. That's no longer my concern. You're no longer my concern, I declare, turning to leave. As I walk away, a part of me wants to look back, to see the life I'm leaving behind one last time. But I resist. This chapter is closed, never to be reopened. Elaine's cries fade into the background as I drive away, the final echoes of a marriage destroyed by deceit. I've exacted my revenge, as ruthless and thorough as I vowed it would be. But as I head towards a new, unknown future, I can't shake the cold emptiness spreading through me. Revenge has its price, and I wonder, as the city lights blur past, whether it was truly worth the cost.